Welcome to this podcast. And this time we go to Sweden. We have now a typical Swedish guy in front of the screen. I'm really glad to have Jonas Fröjd in the house. Hi, Jonas. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. I'm really fine. I can feel it now when I answer you. So thank you for asking me, Jurgen.
Which area in Sweden you are sitting now?
Yeah, I'm based in south of Sweden, so a city called Helsingborg. It's an hour north from Copenhagen Airport. It's going to the spring, and I mean, yeah, it's a good season, time of the season. I like.
But I have to tell, because I announced you as a typical Swedish guy, you're originally from South Korea. Then you somehow moved or got moved to Sweden. How was it? I think you had been very young as you arrived in Sweden. What happened? Why you came to Sweden, and what had been your experience?
Yeah, it's a little bit truth about that. But my story is about my journey from South Korean. It went from adoption from my Swedish parents who adopted me in 1974. And I was almost a year. I was exactly 9 months when I came to Sweden. Why I was the lucky one to come to Sweden is because my Swedish parents, they tried to get biological kids, but they got miscarriage 3 times. And that's during the 70s. And my mom went to her doctor, and the doctor actually recommended in the 70s meditation. So she actually started meditate, and then she came to the insight, I going to adopt a kid from Asia. And I was the lucky one. So I grew up in Sweden with the Swedish culture as well. Like you said, I'm typical Swedish, not in the face, but the culture, but with a little bit but. My mom taught me meditation as well. So I was really grounded when I grew up as a kid. And that I didn't realize until I got adult, like now, why I've been not bullied in my school years. And I didn't get like what my teacher told me. Like I was too creative and too energetic and like that. So I was sitting more outside classroom than inside. My teacher told me, you're not going to be anything, John. And then I had like two choices, like believe them or believe in myself. And all my life, I believed in myself. And that's thankful for my parents that also brought me up like that. They believed in me every day. And then, of course, the meditation helped me. But I didn't know that when I was younger. But now, when I am older and more wise, then I understood it. So that's what I do today.
That is impressive. I know how crucial kids could be if they don't like foreigner or people who are different. That's great. That's fantastic what you learned as well in the youth to be in yourself and believe in yourself. I have seen already a lot of proof in that from studies where they taught kids meditation in school, how strong they are. And looking in our experience, we are both coaching people how long they struggle, sometimes still in the 60s, in their age, they struggle to find their way to themselves and believe in themselves because they lived the whole time, the whole life in the outside world to make a show for others.
Yeah, I've been there, and that's also like you said, I've been abused in that way that they call my names like damn what ugly you are, hey Chinese go home and like that. But all my life I had the answer that was true to myself, like okay, it's only your opinion that I'm damn ugly because I look differently. But I know that I'm loving full and fine as I am. And yeah, for other reason, like if you think I'm from China, then you're wrong. I'm actually from South Korea. So it's also like the logical thing for me, like, okay, I can't be angry to be called Chinese because I'm not the Chinese. And I can't be angry to be called I'm ugly because that's only your opinion. And everything starts with that one. Like now when I'm a parent to my kids and like that, like, hey, this food tastes awful. Then I said, no, it's more like you don't like it. So I like it. So it's also like what I do my professional life here to challenge adult. Like, is the feeling or the thoughts you're doing and thinking, is that from yourself or is it from your parents or your best friend or the network closest to you? Yeah, everything like that is also now science based. Like, you become what you become because of your closest network.
Yeah. And I'm shocked. Over latest statistic I've seen that the people from age until 36, 40 have, I think, 60% are influenced by influencers, and they buy things, they do things because the influencer told them to do it. And it's not what their body told them to do. And it's crazy.
Yeah, but it's what I look back to. It's like everybody programmed from the beginning. You've been born,
Yeah.
and mostly time you're programmed by your parents because they don't know you and you don't know them. So who do you gonna trust? Yeah, of course, as a child, you trust your parents.
And you copy them, what they're doing.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I got curious about, like when I grow older, like the feelings and the thoughts, like the most important languages in the world. Like, what does the body language says? What does the brain language says? Yeah, the thoughts and feelings, and people can talk to themselves through this communication. So, is the thought right or is the feeling right? Yeah, we have never been exploring that because either I will say my thought is right because my mom said like this, or my feelings are right, like I need to cry because my dad says that. And then it's like, okay, when I meet like plus 40 years old people that I coach, start crying because they realize I've been living through my mom's feelings all my life. And I don't know if I told you, but I told the most people about the story about the 60-year-old guy who started crying after 5 times because he realized he'd been living through his mom's feelings all his life and think he's really big and strong. And then he realized he started to cry when he was 5, 6 years old in the playground. He got the plastic tractor in his head and started crying, but had that voice, stop crying, it didn't hurt. So he stopped crying. And then he realized, yeah, I've been living through my mom's word. So that's the thing that I really are curious about. Like, how can we change this one? Yeah, it's a parenting. And my parents who adopted me, they are like, taking a driving license is a good metaphor. Like, to drive a car in the traffic, you need to go through lessons, prove that you can drive. But to make babies, you don't need driving license. But as adopted parent, you need to go through a lot of steps to be able to adopt a kid. And that was also like I got curious about parenting is a main factor as well, how the society looks like today. When I bump into the youth kids and like that, the parent can't handle it. They don't know how to do it. They get angry. Yeah, they put their feelings on the kids and so on. So yeah, it's complex.
That's right. Sensei Floyd. How does that fit in your story of growing up in Sweden?
Yeah, it's all together. I mean, as a 15-year-old kid who had the title too creative, too energetic in the school, he found a Taekwondo club moving from our capital, Stockholm, down to our small city. And I was curious about my national sport. I started training Taekwondo in 1990 and met a wonderful trainer there. He was a person that not the only sports, he included me into the wisdom of the ancient world. I did the training, I did the sport taekwondo, but then after trainings, we were talking and exploring like the wisdom. And that made me also, not at that present time when I was 15-year old, but now when I grew older, same again, understand all what he was talking about and also the wisdom. So I actually did my first run the world tour in 1995 when I was 21. So I've been visiting the ancient wisdom and talked and listened to my older brothers, anything from the farmers to the monks in the monastery and the king and the princess. So it's amazing.
Wonderful. And when you started Mindkicker to offer that
Oh,
connection
yeah.
from the Eastern wisdom and the Western knowledge, or
Yeah.
You don't look so happy with it.
No, I mean, Mindkicker started 5 years ago, but actually, Mindkicker was born as a concept in 2010 when I was working with burned out and stress related sick leave people in Sweden and they got unemployed. So I started coaching them and realized that, hey, the stress is not what's dangerous. It's the lack of recuperation. So then I started actually to give them coaching, mental training, and to actually teach them to recoup. And when I also realized like they're blaming the employer, but actually most of my clients, like, yeah, not percentage, but almost half, they were having the bad low energy from home and brought it to the workplace, and then they got like burned out at the workplace. So the my kicker was born like, okay, I want to accelerate the lack of leadership, the personal leadership, but also the corporate world leadership. Because if you're a leader, you can actually look at your employee. Hey, Jurgen, you don't feel so good today. You slept bad, huh? Because you know your employee. And that's the same as a teacher in martial arts. You know your students, every training, they bow. And I can read the body language and the movement and everything. And I can tell, hey, you had a rough day at work today. Yeah, I had. Yeah. So I can adjust it. And that's what unique to take the sports world into the corporate world. And that's what Mindkicker did. So we combined the mental training, the martial art, physical training, movements, and also the ancient wisdom. But also we added the Western knowledge, like it's science-based, everything. The most important tool that we actually used, it was the digital monitoring, that you could actually see that you didn't feel so good that you thought you did because you're not trained. So the technique, the latest tech in the world in 5 years ago, we were looking into the internet when we started, me and my co-creator, like who does this kind of leadership training? And nobody in the world did actually the combination of mental training, physical training, monitoring with digital tools so you can see your heart and pulse and breathing data, and then to train with an real world champion in the sports at the castle. So that's how our Mindkicker journey started. That 5 ingredients together is unique, but not by themselves. So that's the Mindkicker story.
Cool. So you had a lot of great experiences with it, I assume. So you already mentioned leadership consulting and leadership coaching, and that's where we are close together. I think some of the mindset as well, the Asian knowledge, the meditation. So that's funny that we found us because a lot of that we do together. Different ways, but we do both of it. And when we had some things like skiing, ski touring, and nature, that's as well some favorite activities for both of us. How does that fit now together with leadership coaching and what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah, I get so warm in my heart when talking about skiing. But I've been skiing since I was like 5 years old. So I count that. So I'm turning 50 this year. So I've been skiing 45 years. And I've done like semi-professional skiing when I was younger. I was really good at that. I trained with the Swedish stars that time, Ingmar Stenmark. I didn't train with Ingmar Stenmark, but during his time, and after his time, Stig Strand and Jonas Nilsson, famous Swedish skier. I trained with them, and I got some medals in some competition. As a Swede who lives in the south, only doing like winter break skiing, and I win. Yeah, the story doesn't tell if I become better if I lived in the north. But anyhow, skiing 45 years. And 2 years ago, I met a leadership trainer that arranged ski touring trips as a leadership model because he was talking about, you need to do your work uphill to get the reward downhill. And I loved that. And it's the same concept that we have in martial arts. You need to do your work on the mat. But before you enter the mat, you bow to be conscious about and present in the moment, because otherwise you will be knocked physically and mentally. And same in the mountains. You need to be there conscious, focusing, disciplined, you can't win the fight against the mother nature. That's for true what I know. So it's also a team effort as well. The ski touring, you don't go ski touring by yourself. You don't do that. And also that team feeling I could adapt to, like, okay, the leadership in the teams in the corporate world, it's a really good concept. So yeah, we did some ski touring, and as of my biggest birthday present this year when I'm turning 50, I go on a 6 days ski touring trip in France and Switzerland. So
Which is already a challenging one and a beautiful one. Yeah.
yeah, the travel agency, they asked us, they called us back, me and my friend who's turning 50, like, do you know that this is the hardest route you can do?
Yes.
The other four who is in the group, there are 6 in the group. The other 4 is like 30, 35. Yeah, we are on the right group.
Yeah. It's remembering on my trip to the border of Alaska beginning of this year, it was the same. It is a very difficult ski area. It's a challenging one from the level where you go, and they ask the same. You have to go. You have to be aware what you're doing. Are you sure you can handle that?
Yeah, I'm sure, because 2 things. I totally give my all trust in my ski guide, and that's the key factor. Also, what I learned in ski touring and mountaineering and like that. Or you need to trust your ski guide 100%. And then the second one is that you need to trust your group as well, and that's what I've been training for myself all my life, to be one in the group or to be helping the group. So now I don't know more than my best friend. So the other 4 I don't know, and the ski guy. But the ski guy doesn't matter, because as long as he or she is trained, then I trust. But the other 4 will be always a challenge. But most of my time during my life, I could adapt, and like my experience to read people's body language and talk and expressions like that, I will quickly find out, like, okay, I can't control anything more than I can control that. I will give all my trust in the team to get the most of it. So yeah.
And what I learned as well in the whiteness, and we had minus 29 degrees skiing. So you have to know when you say no. You have to know your limits, and you have to respect our limits, because otherwise you will never arrive safely. And that's in such tours you have to learn. And that's great. And I love it as well what you're doing with leadership coaching while doing ski touring. I love that while hiking or in ski, especially in ski touring, you can give a lot of small pieces to your coachee. And when they have some hours going up to a mountain, to think about it and to exercise it. And then you can give them a reflection. And that has so much power, especially in the nature, with safety wear. That's wonderful.
It's different languages in ski touring, but I mean, the people I bumped into these 2 years, they have been really, really great people who also like put me into the world of having like plan A, plan B, plan C. And that's the same in martial art when I do competition. I need to, of course, I've studied you as opponent, but I need to have a plan A, plan B, plan C. And it's natural for me. So the first time I actually ski touring, the Mother Nature, she wanted something else. So we had the plan A to reach the top, but halfway up, the Mother Nature said, return, go back. But a lot of people, first timer, also like me, I was a first
They
timer.
ignore it. Yeah.
They got frustrated, like I need to reach the top. But I felt calm about that. Okay, the guide, he said, let's turn around and do plan B. Yeah, simple as that. And that's the different what I learned as well as that first ski touring, and like as a beginner, like, okay, I was a little bit more prepared than the average because of that.
That's a learning. You cannot fight against nature. That is a very hard learning. Some don't survive. if you like to survive, you have to go with what nature offers and to respect it. And then you get a lot of wonderful surprises. That's my experience.
Yeah, me too. I mean, nature is the beautiful place, and that's why here in south of Sweden, to start my family, me and my wife, we decided to move out to the countryside. So we have been raising our kids in the countryside, just among the farmers and the woods and like that, to have the hiking around the corner all the day. So nature is really strong, and that came back from my like Japanese experience as well. Like wooden bath is really good for your soul and body and mind.
So wonderful. So I have to visit you better in Sweden than in Berlin. But what you're doing in Berlin? I know you mentioned coming soon. You will be in Berlin. What the heck you're doing then in Berlin?
Yeah, it turned out like when I met you a couple of months ago, when I was aiming to offer Mind Kicker to the German people as well, because we haven't had any Germans, and I was curious about. I've been training martial art in Germany for many years. And now I was like heading to Germany, but I didn't have any network and connection like that in the corporate world. Only my martial art friends, but not many are in the corporate world on that one. But anyhow, I met through LinkedIn and you and some Swedes who connecting me. And now we offer the first silent after work in Berlin with inner works as a theme to experience and also in a curious way to actually see how you can actually be prepared better for the tomorrow.
That's wonderful. And hope you do it more often, that I have as well the chance to join it, as this time it looks like I have some conflicts with my schedules. I assume you will have more opportunities for that because it's a great concept.
Yeah, I hope so. And we're gonna release it next week officially. So hopefully a lot of German are interested and curious about this concept and how we actually can, through well-being, get actually performance as a function instead of opposite, like focusing on performance and then you lack of well-being. So I focusing on well-being and get the performance as a function. That's the key.
That's wonderful. Jonas, thank you so much to giving such a great insight, what you're doing, how you raised, and what's coming. Wonderful to have you in my podcast.
You will have applaud from me because thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. I wish you good luck with your session in Berlin, but more with great snow for your ski touring adventure, because that is a lovely tour, and I hope you have the best conditions you deserve.
I will get back to you and
We share pictures afterwards. Thank you,
yeah.
Jonas.
Yeah,
Wish
yeah,
you all
yeah.
the best and talk to you soon.
Bye
Bye.
bye.